All right, good morning. This is a bit of an early start because today is rather historic. We've got SpaceX IPO coming in. Um, my brokerage trade station has sent a message via their app saying that there won't be any market orders in or out of the IPO. So I'm assuming it will launch at the bell. Um, Sometimes it's at the bell, sometimes it's like a couple hours after the bell, depending on the severity of the IPO and how much volume there is. They have blocked basically every market order. You cannot market order in or out, so you can't just buy a bunch and sell right away. You can limit yourself. You're not going to be fill instantly. So it'll basically it'll remove all the fluctuation of the stock as far as the IPO. So it's a it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. That means that we're going to be able to um, not get whiplash, which is rather important. It's something that we all have to deal with in a stock. So, overnight trade, I had that's my average price at 7,404.75. I had a bunch of orders. I had a bunch of blocks before I went to bed. It was roughly 11-ish, somewhere around here. So I entered in that consolidation here. That's where I blocked them. And then I had a couple in that IOB here. I figured all this consolidation was going to be bullish. I figured there was going to be some consolidation overnight because of the ramp that we had at around noon, around after lunch. I mean, usually when this happens, it'll lead to a retest, and then if you look at my previous video, we stopped exactly in that pocket of liquidity that I mentioned in the video, and then we retested that small. There was a pocket here that had more orders to be swept, and it busted through and then retested. So that was probably an area of importance for orders or for entry orders. So that being said, I did get a bit of drawdown into the previous range, but if, as you can see, that break of structure over here was a very prominent area for more liquidity to break out. It's basically the retest, the lower low into a higher high. But yeah, I mean, so far, every single overnight has yielded. I have my take profit at the upper daily and in the upper weekly, which I had mark at 11 o'clock. Gamma had lowered. Yeah, Gamma's been lower. It was at 7,700 and then they retraced to 7,400. The traumas have flattened. They were, looking down. Like they were very bearish, and then we had a nice bullish engulfing on the daily yesterday, and then it turned obviously into higher candle. Now what we need is to hold 7,421 ish, 20 ish. We need to hold that. We need to close that daily with a body strong close past the previous day high. If that happened, we're likely to continue higher. Other than that, so far they're both like that, ES and NQ. NQ also broke gamma. Now, if we retrace the daily below gamma, it'll be sell into selling. So there's a possibility that we are going to do that on ES and NQ. Depending on how much volume comes in the morning, obviously they all been cash. So you, we don't really know what's going to happen with the IPO, which sector is going to continue being drained and rotated into the space sector and everything else. So uh, just it's very interesting. It's something haven't really experienced of that significance. There's going to be some demand. There's going to be some traps. There's going to be uh, some good price action today is what I forecast. I don't see us really closing any higher than this, but that upper weekly is based on Monday price action, priced in of the action, and then the upper daily is based on today. I think this would probably be somewhere where we would close Friday. I don't see it be a bearish Friday, but at the same time, there's possibility where it could be. Uh, it could. So as far as right now, I am in rather significant profit. It's another almost 30,000 in overnight. So far, so good. I mean, the pre-market DRAM is definitely in a bullish stance. Unfortunately, I had a SPY call for Friday, and I closed it yesterday, which maybe I shouldn't have. I closed it yesterday because it rallied pretty significantly, and then it just today the overnight is like it's up almost, yeah, zero point 0.6. So it's like, damn. I left a bit of money on the table, unfortunately, but that's not much of a big deal. It's okay. We're pretty we're up pretty good. Metals are ramping also, so that's another thing. Like the indices are up and the metals are up, which I never really like when that happened, but it's been the story of this year is they're both ramping up. Silver is gonna gain 5-6%, but also SPY QQQ and DA is gonna also be up. Makes no sense. The dollar's kind of weak. It's still up, but it's kind of weak. It's back below all traumas. I could probably see dollar back at 99.7, somewhere there about intraday. If this is a higher low, it's going to create a higher high. Otherwise, it's going to retest 99.5. It could continue forming that pattern here, a little channel, and then stop at the value low and come back up. That's a possibility. VIX has been coming down, so that's a good sign. We are below traumas though, so it's 20, 50, 200. If the 50 cross, we're probably going to continue going down on VIX, but as far as right now, I mean, we need to break under 18.37 to really negate the spike and just be a bit be a bit more bullish on the market, but there's a possibility that if we can close on Friday under 18.37, we're probably going to have a bullish week next week, and VIX might go down to 16.8. So the price of your premium contract is going to be more balanced, and there's going to be some decent opportunity. It should bring in some volume and options. So that being said, oil is just weakening, which is a good sign. Now, the thing is with oil is I don't expect any much more lows than that. It is at value area low, and then the minimum I would see is 81.2. If it can stop in this area over here, that'd be great because then we know we're gonna get a pullback once we reach the highs. And we're so close to those upper move that I think that's what's gonna happen is oil intraday should come down to 81 and then hover here and maybe come bounce back, putting some pressure to the indices. So I would keep my eyes on oil. As soon as it starts pulling back, that means you're gonna get a pullback in the indices, and that should be your top for the day. There's gonna be some take profits at the end of today, obviously. I would also watch a lot of zero DTs. A lot of people are gonna send zero DTs, myself included, because that's just how it works. Like on days like today, when something massive is coming out, you're gonna want to send some zero DTs. And this is doing pretty well right now. I'm in upper. I still need to update those, even though the level seems pretty decent because it did hit the lower weekly and then bounce right off. It hit the lower monthly expected move and bounced through. I don't see SPY any lower than 738 for today. If there is a bounce, that's where it's gonna flip up. That's our hard support. Resistance obviously is gonna be those upper move. I still think that it'll close above 740, but you never know. There's potential. It's a good day. There should be some movement today. There should be some manipulation, some nice tricky spot to enter. So just be mindful that this is going to be a pretty significant day. Beside that, that's all I have. I'm not gonna watch any other stocks. I already have my limits set for a price of $135 on SPCX. Everybody's It's funny because everybody online is like, don't buy now. This they're mirroring the bubble of the .com to this current AI quote unquote bubble, but it's not a bubble. It hasn't been a bubble. Like if the people would know the definition and what creates and makes a bubble, they would understand that this current AI boom is not a bubble. They're rotating money amongst themselves. If there's infinite capital, how can it crash? Like it's night and day. It's not even the same. Not to mention, we're printing 10 times more money than we used to back in the 2000. Like it's completely different. The companies are still growing. The companies still have growing earnings. Their cash flow is still there. The demand is still there. It is absolutely not like the dot-com bubble. It's just not. And SpaceX is coming out at the exact perfect time so that he can gather liquidity for all his project. It's a smart move from Elon. Like it makes sense to release it now, not in, the end of the summer. We're going into a summer cycle, which usually is bullish for crypto as well as the stock market until August. And in August, we get a small pullback, end of July, August. So this is a perfect time. It's going to ramp up for a month or two. And I wouldn't be surprised if it closed at 140, almost 145 today, because there's no market orders. Why would it not? People are going to limit themselves. Every pullback is going to get bought up. Watch it happen. And then everybody's going to be left behind. I'm buying. I have a risk management. I don't care. I'm going to take a 30% loss if I get pulled out, but ultimately I'm going to be in. Why would I not be in? I'm an investor. It's the risk, right? Like if your risk is covered, clearly I've been covering my risk for many, many days now overnight. I've nearly doubled my future account in the past 5 months, and that's my cushion. If I take losses on LTIs, I can rotate money from futures into my LTI portfolio to break even and continue. That's why you need both. You need an LTI portfolio that's compounding, that goes up and down, that you basically just have to manage, and that's it. And you keep buying positions, and then you play futures on an intraday basis, where if you have a streak of wins, you can rotate that capital over into your LTIs, and whatever's losing, you can basically pay that out and buy back the position or buy back into position. Like it's my safety net. It's just it's absolutely the best way to invest, because then you're protected on both sides. Same thing happened with my future account, right? If I took 10 loss in a row, I can go into my LTI portfolio. I can sell a bunch of shares that equals to the loss, and then just rotate the capital. Like you can't lose unless the market really goes bad and you take loss on both sides, which honestly hasn't happened in a while. I'm protected. It's that easy. It all depends on how you approach the market. And some people just, like, when I see some traders only trade futures and not have any other type of cushion or income coming in from any other sides of the market, it just blows my mind. No wonder they can't be profitable, because they don't have the perspicacity of using the entire market. They're trading one ticker. You can't be right all the time trading one ticker. Now, if you're trading multiple things, then if you're right or wrong, it doesn't matter, because one thing is going to make profit and while the other thing is losing. And even if you break even, at least you break even. Like you're still in the market. You still have chips to play the next trade. Just blows my mind, and I try to teach that to people, because that's the probably the most important part of being a day trader, is to play defensive. Well, you play defensive while playing offensive. You play both, and then you end up making tens of thousands of dollars and doubling your account in half a year, just because you played both sides. That's how you win in the market. On this note, ETF is up. I can likely see a little more from it, but obviously it's going to retrace, right? Once this daily candle hits the highs and or stop creating highs, it'll retrace. Obviously it is Friday, but I'm pretty sure it's going to go in either these two blocks here and then retrace. Beside that, we look pretty good right now. So yeah, that's what I'm watching for today, and I should I'll probably make another video this weekend, so stay tuned, and then continue sending some information out there. But yeah, be safe, guys.